Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always so much fun. You know, we've got an announcement for you, and AP, you're the first one to hear it. Classic Country, that's WZLA, located in Abbeville, South Carolina, is carrying the show now on Saturdays. So we've got a time slot for 9 a.m. You can find them on the dial in Abbeville at 92.9. You can also find them on the internet as well. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me be part of your team. I definitely appreciate that, guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. And again, thank you so much for letting us be part of your world. You can also find us on the podcast at thenewscasters.com, and you can find us on all the social media sites as well. Continue sending emails, Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. Again, thank you so much, because I just love hearing from you. It makes my day, and you're not bothering me one little bit. You continue sending emails. I have everybody's favorite sports talk show host. His name is AP Steadham. He is with, he has his own talk show as well. But I'm going to have to tell you what, AP, let's go ahead and start with the biggest question out there from our listeners and watchers this week is this, and it's the Auburn game. The officials not calling some of the things that happened. What have you got to say about that?
Yeah, Donna, I would start off by saying that sometimes the officials, they do miss a call on the plays that are not reviewable. Now, the one specific call that what caught my attention was when the Oklahoma player was leaving the field and he walked right to the edge of the yard line, out of bounds, and stayed on the field. They snapped the ball and they threw a touchdown pass. Auburn was not guarding him because it looked like he was intentionally moving towards the sideline to be substituted. Now, I was told that they had a meeting this summer or this past months to discuss that type of play where you can't deceive the other team by pretending that you're walking off the field and you're going to be substituted. So, but Oklahoma ran that play. The officials did not make that call. That should have been a call. They should have been flagged for trying to deceive the other team in the substitution of the player. And there was a touchdown, and that's the margin of victory. So they apologized. The league apologized, saying that the officials missed that call. But if I was a commissioner, since we had a specific discussion about this type of play, I would suspend the head coach, because we made it known specifically that we don't want to deceive our opponents during the substitution pattern, and they ran it anyway, and they scored a touchdown, and it ended up being the margin of victory. So I would definitely suspend the head coach one game, something. I would do something. Fine the school, something. I'd probably suspend the coach and fine the school. I would do both.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was another call too everybody's talking about, and this pertains also to the Auburn game, and that's where the Auburn guy, the ball was being thrown to him, had his arms up ready, and another player, the opposite team, was holding him.
Right.
So that wasn't caught either.
Right. And sometimes the official, as I say, they do miss the call. When they're retreating and trying to keep up with those fast wide receivers, their head might be turned in the wrong direction and they miss the call. But they're supposed to have help from the other officials if they're watching the play as well. The ball is in the air, and when they're watching the play, even though the official is right there next to the wide receiver and defensive back, maybe he wasn't in the right position. The other officials are supposed to see if they can make the call as well. So it was a play that was missed and it was not reviewable, so you have to move on. It's a mistake.
Well, what I find interesting about this whole thing is normally, now I'm married to an Alabama fan. I'm an Auburn fan.
Right.
Normally, an Alabama fan's going to go, stop whining, like that. But even the Alabama fans are a little upset about this.
Right. Well, Donna, my feeling has always been if you're rooting against the other team, you want it to be called fairly because you don't want them to call that against your team.
Right.
I mean, there's self-interest involved.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have officials that can see all the calls because we don't want it perpetrated on our team. So that's what I would say about a fan from an opposing team also agreeing with the complaint about the official missing the call.
I didn't even catch that when Phil caught it. And he said, whoa. And I'm like, you mean you're taking up me? I mean, I took it personally. Like, okay, so you're taking it. But that's true because you think about, if it was done to them, it could be done to my team too.
That's right. That there's a self-interest involved when you're watching these officials and they're calling the game. And there's a human element. There's some things that they miss. And that's in the equation of the game. That's part of the game. As they say, that happens. And you can't look back. You can't review that play, and you have to move on. Whether it's for you or against you, you have to play on.
Otherwise, with the rest of the game, how would you fare Auburn as playing that game?
Yeah, they had trouble blocking for the quarterback, Donna. There was a record-setting for Oklahoma, 10 sacks. And the last sack was a 2-point safety for Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma quarterback who transferred to Auburn. So Auburn had trouble all day protecting their quarterback. And I think part of that, Donna, to some degree, it's all not just the offensive line and the blocking. The quarterback has to get rid of the ball in a timely fashion. And the coaching staff must assist the quarterback in finding ways where they can get him maybe outside the pocket and throw a quick pass so he's not getting an avalanche of defensive players tackling him. So it's a combination of players, the quarterback, the offensive line, the pass protection scheme, the coaching staff. So they're going to have a lot to review. So make sure that doesn't happen in the next few ball games. But the quarterback, he must know that in this game, my offensive line is having trouble. So I've got to get rid of the ball. I've got to give my player, the offensive player, a chance to make a catch. If I'm holding the ball, there's zero chance to make a catch. So I have to get rid of the ball in a timely manner.
Well, we had ball games playing this past weekend too. What do you say? What was the most interesting one? Which was a surprise?
I would say one of the games I was looking at also was the Missouri was hosting South Carolina. That's the two Columbias down, Columbia, South Carolina, Columbia, Missouri. But South Carolina had a lead on them, and but Missouri prevailed 29. They beat them. I think that final score was 29-20, I believe it was. But anyway, I was looking at that ball game. I know that Lenora Sellers was coming back from the injury, and he was able to compete, and they did a pretty good job most of the ball game, but Missouri was too strong in the end. Ended up being 29-20. So Missouri ends up 4-0. South Carolina right now is 2-2. The 0-2 in the conference. So, and they have a lot of difficult games ahead of them, South Carolina. So they have to regroup and try to come out with some wins because they've already got 2 losses in the conference. You only play 8 games in the conference, and then it's already 2 losses. So I would say that Missouri-South Carolina game, and that's become kind of a rivalry, I think, because of the 2 schools being in Columbia, Columbia, Missouri, and Columbia, South Carolina. So I think that's created a little bit of a rivalry for those schools. But the big game was, of course, the Auburn-Oklahoma game, and also that Florida had to take out Miami, and they ended up losing that game. Florida's offense is struggling. And they weren't able to win that game, and they weren't able to put up enough points. So Florida, they've got to get something going offensively. I think there's so much pressure on them now defensively because their offense, it's 3 and out, and they're not moving the ball, so the defense is always on the field. So that wears on you game after game down. By the middle of the season, your defense is wore out, and they're more susceptible to giving up points. It's not that they have a bad defense. It's just physically that they've been on the field too long. And yeah, but there's another game we could discuss also. It was a big upset, pretty fair upset was Arkansas and Memphis. Arkansas played at Memphis. Arkansas was moving in to either kick the field goal for the winning points. They were down by a point or score a touchdown. And on the 5-yard line, they ran into the middle of the line and the running back fumbled the football, which was dramatic and a big negative, but Donna, they still had a chance to get the ball back. And on third down, they had a substitute quarterback, and it was maybe 3rd and 6 or 7, something like that. And they had him tackled, and he just carried everybody about 5 yards to a first down, and that was the end of the ball game because Arkansas didn't have any more timeouts. But I just found it unbelievable that Arkansas, again, dropped the ball at the end, made that fumble, and when they were going in for the winning points. And then on top of that, they let the second string quarterback, it could have been the first string, but he just carried everybody 5 or 6 yards, and they had a big 300-pound lineman hanging on. Everybody's trying to reach for the football, get him on the ground. It would have been 4th down. It would have been a punt. They would have had some time left on the clock. Maybe it would have been a bad punt. They were way back on the other side of the goal line. It could have been a short punt. They could have had a chance to kick a field goal. But so they blew it twice. And then after the end of the game, they were kind of fussing at midfield. I'm thinking, where was that fight during the game? Forget fighting after the game. Where was the fight during the game?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was disappointed in Arkansas. I was disappointed for Arkansas that I know they fumbled the ball, and that happens. But it shouldn't happen at the end of the game when you're trying to just move closer for the winning field goal. Wrap the ball up and fall down if you have to, because you're right within 10 yards of the touchdown. You can get an easy field goal. But they fumbled, and they still had the chance. Were in good position. It was 3rd and long. Couldn't get the quarterback on the ground. That should not happen, especially when you have them wrapped up 5 yards and he drags everybody. Yeah, that was rough. That was a rough loss for Arkansas.
Oh, that's pretty rough. Now let's talk about the Clemson game, because we have, as a matter of fact, I've got emails coming in about that right now. You're dinging off. And a lot of folks are upset about the Clemson game.
Yeah, Clemson giving up a lot of yards the first half, I think 300 yards. So defensively, they're failing. And offensively, Donnie, you have a 3rd-year quarterback. This should be a strong season for you on that side of the ball. And they can't score points. They're having trouble. So it's offensively and defensively, they're not playing very well. And consequently, that's their 3rd loss already. And they have very difficult games remaining within the conference, Atlantic Coast Conference. And then they have to play South Carolina at the end of the year as well. That's always a big battle. Mm-hmm. So Clemson's in trouble. I think Dabo, I can't put my finger on it exactly. They're claiming that because he doesn't take a lot of transfers, so maybe there's not enough talent. But I think over the years, Clemson's the type of team recruited well. They develop players, but for some reason, they're not jiving together offensively and defensively, especially when you have a 3rd-year quarterback who was on all the preseason All-America teams. He's just not any quarterback. I mean, he's a quarterback that's been looked at as possibly the maybe All-American quarterback, maybe the 1st team, 2nd team, 3rd team, but he's one of the top quarterbacks, and you can't score points. So they have some serious issues that they have to turn around here quickly. They could end up with a couple more losses. Could have 5 losses this year. Could. Yeah, easily.
What will that do for Dabo? Do you think he'll remain the coach?
I think he would. But I think there's probably a conversation with the administration at this point, because, Don, in this world where you can't afford to have the program take a huge drop like they're doing right now, because Clemson's usually a playoff team. Yeah. Usually in the playoff or contending for the ACC championship or both. So you have a discussion. Okay, Dabo, what is your view of why you didn't perform up to your standard with a 3rd-year quarterback? And you had good recruits all these last few years. What happened? So I think there would be a discussion with the athletic director and try to revive the program and figure out moving forward, what do we need to do on the personnel side? Did we have good coaching? Did we have select the wrong players? Did we not develop them enough? Do you think we need to go out into the transfer portal and acquire talent by offering them the name, image, and likeness money? What do we need to do to turn around where we're getting better performances? I mean, that's losing by double digits at home down. It wasn't a one-score game. The game was over. I mean, 2 minutes left on the clock. It's over because you have to score twice. Not enough time. So it wasn't like it was a close ball game. Yeah.
Let's go into a commercial break and a little bit more about the SEC when we come back. So we'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show and radio talk show, because now you can find us on Classic Country 92.9 FM WZLA. They are in Abbeville, South Carolina, and the only local yokel around. So we're real proud to be part of that team as well. You can find us on television, on syndication. That's through Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the newscasters.com. All the social media sites as well. I have AP Steadham with me right now, and he does exclusive coverage of the SEC. And I'm going to tell you what, South Carolina is dragging you into that area too.
Right. Yeah. South Carolina, they're in a bind here because they're struggling to get some wins. So they've got to turn it around quickly. They already have a couple of losses within the conference. Vanderbilt beat them at home by a big score. I think that was 31-7 prior week. And then they lost again 29-20 to Missouri on the road. So South Carolina has to get it going, because it can be a really long season for them. Disappointing season, I might add.
Let's talk about your show, AP, as we see it, and your discussions from last week, and then what you're looking forward to this week.
Yeah, last week we had here's a game we didn't discuss so far. We had the sideline reporter for Tulane, Matty Hudak, and Tulane, they were only I think a 10 or 11 point underdog to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss had a fabulous game on offense, Donna. 45-10, they beat Tulane. And the interesting story about Ole Miss, Donna, was they have this quarterback from Ferris State. Some of your audience may not even know, where is Ferris State? Well, that's a school in Michigan, Division II. Division II. It's not an FCS, which is above Division II, and it's not an FBS, which is the SEC, those types of schools. It's a couple levels down. And he was a great quarterback there, won a championship, beat Valdosta State in the title game by a big score, threw for about almost 3,000 yards, 1,000 yards rushing. And I asked Lane Kiffin last week during the teleconference, where did you find him? He said his staff, they have all these video players around the country, specifically quarterbacks he was searching, and he found him and brought him on campus. Donna, he's had 400, think about this now, I'm going to say this twice, 400 plus yards, 2 games in a row, 400 plus yards, 2 games in a row, total offense. From a Division II quarterback. He's substituting for Austin Simmons, who's injured, who was supposed to be a bright star for Ole Miss. They brought in a second-string quarterback from Division II, 400 plus yards in the last 2 games. One was against Arkansas, and one was against Tulane. 2 good, 2 programs capable of winning those ball games. Yeah.
You just proved my point, because I've said this for years. A lot of the smaller schools are being overlooked. You've got some hidden gems out there in some of the smaller colleges.
Right. And if you can evaluate talent, this is what I always say. All these schools, Donna, SEC, they all have money. They complain they don't have any money. They have plenty of money. Who should receive the money? If you can figure out in your evaluation process the type of players that can win in the SEC, you're ahead of everybody. And Ole Miss figured out that this quarterback, Division II, overlooked, he can win in the SEC, and not only win, he's putting up numbers that are as good or better than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about Vanderbilt just a little bit, because I'm going to tell you what,
Vanderbilt.
Polls is what I say.
I have them in my poll, my top 16 poll, the Football Writers Association of America National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. They've been in my top 16. But anyway, Vanderbilt, Donna, as we said last week, they were playing Georgia State, a team that upset them last year. They only played one time in that series, and Georgia State held the lead with the 1 victory. They beat Georgia State this weekend, Donna, 70-21. 70 points they put up and touchdowns. So they had the leave no doubt mentality. Mm-hmm. Then this time we're not toying with you, Georgia State. We remember last year and you beat us fair and square, but this year we're a different team, and they've won 70-21. This week, Donna, they play Utah State, a team that they should probably beat. So Vanderbilt's looking to move to 5-0, Donna. 5-0 at Vanderbilt. And that's 1 victory away from the bowl. Of course, they have bigger goals than just playing in a bowl game. So they should be 5-0 by the end of this week after they play Utah State in Nashville. So that's got to be as excited as Vanderbilt has been as a program in decades.
So why are they not higher up in the polls on everybody's polls?
I think they're waiting for them to play more teams of substance, Donna. I think they beat South Carolina. That was a big victory. I mean, 31-7 in Columbia, South Carolina. So that was significant to me. If they won the game, it would have been fine. But 31-7. So I think they're just waiting for them to get into the conference schedule and see who they beat within the conference. I think
makes sense.
They will shoot up on the polls. I think if they start winning, they win a couple of games there. They already won one. They win a couple more in the conference. Yeah. So their schedule, John, let me see if I can just look at that quickly here. After the Utah State game, Donna, they can make their mark again as they did last year. They're traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to play Alabama.
Ooh, that's going to be a big game right there.
Right. So, yeah, if they can play them tough, and then after that, they have a week off, then they host LSU. So those are two big teams in the conference. They win either one of those, they're going to be their presence will be felt in the poll.
I think they'll be as high as the top 10 yet if they do pull them off.
I would say if they were able to beat Alabama and LSU, I would put them in the top 10. Why not? That's South Carolina, Alabama, LSU. Sure, I would put them in the top 10. I would.
Mm-hmm. So who is your top 10?
Yeah, the top 10 we have, Donna, and I voted this week. Penn State is number 1. That's been my pick since the beginning of the preseason. Georgia, number 2. Ohio State. Oregon, number 4. I have Texas, number 5. And I think I could probably move somebody else at number 5, but I have Texas there at the moment. I want to see them compete against a better team. You know, they played Ohio State, real top team, to the 7 on the road, which is impressive because like I say, Ohio State's number 3 on my list. But let's see what Texas does in the next couple of weeks. So that's my top 5: Penn State, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. And Texas on their schedule, Donna, they will travel to Gainesville, Florida this week. Now, Florida will give them a ball game because they have some talent, but that's a good road test for them. It's not one of the top teams in the conference. And then they have to play Oklahoma and Dallas. So they're going to find out about their team in the next 2 weeks because they are on the road in Gainesville, and then they have the neutral site in Dallas against their biggest rival. One of their biggest rivals, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. So where are you putting Alabama? I know Alabama had coming up.
Right. Alabama is number 15 in my poll, Donna. Alabama's number 15 in my poll. Tennessee's number 13. Oklahoma, number 12. Ole Miss, number 11. Texas A&M, number 9. LSU, number 6. Those are the SEC teams in my top 16 because my polls, the Football Writers, National Football Foundation is only a top 16.
So which game are you looking forward to this coming weekend?
Yeah, this coming weekend, Donna, the biggest game on the schedule.
But which one would you not miss? You would miss a pizza for that one.
Right. I think the Alabama at Georgia game. That's probably the biggest game on the schedule. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest games nationally. It's right up there in the top 2 or 3 games for the country. So Alabama at 3-1, 0-0 in the conference, and then Georgia is 3-0 and they're 1-0 in the conference. So they're meeting, and that's going to be a big ball game because, like I said, I still believe Georgia's a team to beat until they're dethroned. I have them above everybody in the Southeastern Conference. They're running the ball more effectively this year. They have better pass receivers that are catching the ball. Gunnar Stockton is a quarterback. He showed that he's capable of having a big game, throwing for over 300 yards as he did against Tennessee and Knoxville, put 40-plus points on the Volunteers to win that ball game in overtime. So Georgia and Alabama should be a very competitive game. It's huge for Alabama because they already have the 1 loss down. If they sub for another loss, it'd be 2 losses. That means they'd have to go undefeated the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Okay. How can everybody find you, AP, on AP As We See It? You know, you got South Carolina watching you.
Yeah. We're on our YouTube channel every week, AP As We See It on our YouTube channel. And we're on local radio stations. They can check their dial. And they're also on Spotify. The audio is on Spotify every week. That's archived as well. So we're on their Facebook at AP As We See It, X account, and also the Instagram. We always put our links on there, Donna, of our our show. And then if we covering a ball game, we have the photos and the post-game interviews as well. So you can find those on our social media platform, AP As We See.
AP, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. And thank you guys so much for watching. AP, hang around so we can get you scheduled for next week. We'll see you guys later. Continue sending emails, okay? Donna@donnasedge.com.